Okay, I'm getting ready to change a window regulator in a 1999 Buick Century. I'm going to start by removing this screw in here. It's a Phillips head screw, and then I'm going to pop this off and remove the two hex bolts that are in here, and then I'm going to also remove this panel, which will give me access to these switches. And I'm going to show you as much as I can, but this screw is coming off, and then I'm going to pop this out here, if you can see it there, and then remove the two hex screws, and then I'm going to remove this panel here. I want you to see what that looks like on the inside, and I'm going to put a ratchet right down in here to screw these off. So I just pulled off the covering, which basically just sits down in here like this, and I just used a little flathead screwdriver to go around the outside and pop it up, which gave me access to these hex bolts. So I'm going to use my ratchet here, which is a 10 millimeter, yes, 10 millimeter ratchet, to go in here and screw these off, and then I'm going to pop this off. Okay, that's both of those hex screws out. It's getting pretty loose there. Now I'm going to pop this control panel out, and I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver to get in here and just kind of wiggle it up, and it should start to come up just a little bit, just like this. So I'm going to put the camera down so I can take my time to go around it. Okay, I want to show you what this looks like. This is it here. So I'm going to disconnect the switches that are here. They're connected on by little tabs right on the back here, and right there. And then there's one in here. I'm going to disconnect those now, and then I'll be able to set this aside and remove the door. Okay, you could probably just leave this last switch on. It's kind of hard to get out, and then just pop this out of the holder here like this, and leave the mirror switch connected. You could do that, but I went on and took it out anyway. But that would probably be easier, and then you wouldn't have to try to remove that. But it's back in there. It's all ready. Okay, now that I have all of the switches and everything disconnected, the screw out, the hex head nuts out, I'm going to remove the door. I have this little pry bar, and I'm just going to pop the door off slowly around the edges like this. It's kind of loose now because I've done some testing, and just pop that off on the inside and up here. There we go. And now I can remove the door. There's a connector for this concert speaker if you have this in your car at the top, and you'll want to disconnect that from behind the panel, and then you can remove the whole door. It's just a little black connector, and it's pretty easy to remove. Okay, now that I've got the door out of the way, I'm just going to pull this plastic water barrier down out the way. Give me some room, and that'll give me access to these two bolts here, these two bolts, and these two bolts. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have to remove all 7 of these and disconnect the motor, which is back in here. I like to loosen these, and then I like to loosen the motor and bring it up to this little window here, which it allows it to be a little easier to disconnect this connector here. I'm just loosening these up right now before I remove them. And this will allow me to just make some little adjustments when I go to disconnect the motor. This is the motor here. 1, 2, 3 screws. I'm just going to loosen these right now before I take it out. So now that I have these screws loose here, they actually just insert into here, and you can adjust them up and down. But what I like to do is take them out through the hole, and then I can bring the motor, if you can see this, I can bring the motor up to the back of this window here, and then it gives me access to this plug, which is sitting right here, and then I can disconnect this plug from this window, and then I can remove the whole window regulator and motor. So this is the connector that connects to the motor, which is what I'm trying to remove at the moment. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I just got that disconnected, so I can bring the motor back down and going to be hanging here. And now I can work on disconnecting the rest of these screws here that are connected to the regulator. All right, I have all 4 of those screws out, which are here. And there's holes here at the top where you can adjust this, but the window is stuck, so I gotta help force the window down at the moment, and then I'll be able to have access to the screws that are connected to the window. So I'm gonna do that right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, this window here is really, I can't push it down, but I could move it back and forth in order to get to the hex screw that's back here, and I'm going to use a wrench to reach up in here and get to the other one, and then I'll be able to remove the window. Okay guys, I was able to finally free the regulator from the window. I have the window taped up now so that it won't slip down, but I could not get it to pull down. It didn't want to pull down, so I had to adjust it so that I could get it through these holes and remove the 2 screws, which look like this. If you can see those. There's 2 of them that connect to the window and the regulator. And I was able to get those. Now I can remove the regulator from the section here. It's kind of stuck down in there, but should be able to get it out. And there we go. This is it. So I'm going to get the new regulator and start the process of placing that in there, which is just going to be the reverse of everything. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, I've got the new regulator here and motor. It comes as an assembly. They also sell the motor separately, which I bought at first because I thought I could actually replace the motor, but you can't replace the motor on these. You have to replace these as an assembly. So I definitely recommend buying it as an assembly. Don't try to replace the motor because it just doesn't. There's no way to do that. At least not on the original part that was in the Buick. You might be able to do it with some of these new parts that are made, but I wouldn't try that. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the screws in the motor, and then I'm going to attach it on the inside. Okay, so this is how I'm going to slide the motor and regulator on the 1999 Buick Century into the door. I'm going to take the motor in first. Actually, I'm going to take the regulator in first, lay it flat. Then I'm going to go in with the motor in. I can bring the motor over here. The screws, I can just let it sit. Let me show you here. I can let the screws just sit down. You can see they just sit down in there. And I can just let those sit until I get the regulator in place, which is going to go in place here. And I'm going to do that now. Okay, I have the top screws in. Now I'm working on the bottom screws here. Got one in. I'm going to add the second one. Okay guys, I got it connected, but I didn't tighten all the bolts. Just I wanted to make sure that everything was working. And there's the window motor going up, if you can see it here. So now I'm going to leave it right here, and sorry for the bell, leave it right here and then lower the window down to it so that I can make the connection. Okay, I want you guys to see something here. I just lowered the window down onto it, and what you want to make sure is that these tabs that are here are sitting over top of this middle piece of the regulator. And that's on both sides, right here, and also on this side. And then from there, you can take your screw and start to apply it right there. Okay, I have the screws on both sides of the window, and now I'm going to reapply the water barrier over the door.